The maritime industry is a key sector of the Nigerian economy, owing to the fact that as an oil-producing and exporting country and as well as a consumer nation, is a large market for foreign goods with its huge population. To this end, the maritime sector holds the key to the nation's growth and development. Nigeria's strategic location in Africa also puts her at an advantage in becoming the hub of shipping activities. The country is a coastal state with extensive coastline and a vast exclusive economic zone. It has inland waterways and large volume of various commodities. Multimodalism, which is the reliance of many modes of transport, from water transport to inland waterways, the roads, air, rail, requires connectivity, which is geared towards unlocking the treasures in the maritime industry. On this informative note, I warmly welcome you to Maritime Update. I am Norma Obiaswalo. On a weekly basis, Maritime Update brings to you activities in the maritime industry. In view of the fundamental role of the maritime sector in facilitating the conduct of global trade and commerce, it's imperative to continuously develop the requisite human capacity to take advantage of opportunities in this all-important sector. In this episode, we'll be focusing on the short and long-term solutions profiled to curb the challenges experienced in the sector, which will aid its repositioning. First, issues and developments that made news in the sector. Stay with us. The Nigerian Shippers Council urges terminal operators to embrace automation system for cargo clearance. The Maritime Workers Union of Nigeria calls on the federal government to resuscitate the liquidated Nigerian National Shipping Line. The Borno Yobe Command of Nigeria Customs Service generates over 78 million naira revenue in 6 months. And now to the main stories. The Nigerian Shippers Council (NSC) has called on terminal operators to embrace automation system for cargo clearance. Executive Secretary and CEO of the Council, Hassan Bello, made the call when he led the Council's management team on a visit to CIFAX Port and Cargo Handling Services, 5-Star Logistics Limited and APM terminals in Lagos. According to him, adoption of automation will improve cargo clearance, minimize the current gridlock being experienced in Apapa, and reduce human traffic at the terminals. He added that the ease of doing business executive order is realizable when there is synergy among various players in the transport and logistics chain. He also emphasized the need for all terminal operators to register with the Council in addition to maintaining functional websites and proper records of daily transactions, which will help regulators and government in policy formulation. Bello reiterated that the Nigerian Shippers Council, as a port economic regulator, is interested in ensuring international best practice, adding that other countries could attain the minimum operating standards at the ports. Nigeria should strive to achieve it, adding that the Council is determined to embark on a periodic audit of all terminal operators, both manually and electronically. Responding to the NSC bus, the general managers of CIFAX Port and Cargo, 5-Star Logistics and APM terminals expressed optimism that the visit of officials of the NSC had given them an assurance that their present operational challenges would soon become history. The Maritime Workers Union of Nigeria has called on the federal government to resuscitate the liquidated Nigerian National Shipping Line, as doing so will stimulate the employment of several seafarers. The union, in a communique issued at the end of its National Executive Council meeting in Lagos, specifically urged government to direct the Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency (NIMASA) to commence payment of monthly pension to the affected seafarers who were mainly ratings and who were disengaged in 1995 as a result of the liquidation of the Nigerian National Shipping Line. The union called on the government to stop what it called the emerging illegal operation of ship-to-ship discharge in our offshore waters. It acknowledged that such operations deprive the Nigerian Ports Authority (NPA) and federal government their due revenue. They further stated that NPA should ensure the stoppage of the illegal operation by invoicing all offshore tropical West African vessels calling at the ports, and that the federal government should allow the Federal Ministry of Transportation through the MPA to appoint stevedore or dock workers to man the over 150 coastal private jetties and oil platforms that dot the coastal landscape. The Borno Yobe Command of the Nigerian Customs Service (NCS) said it generated over 78 million naira revenue in 6 months. The Customs Area Controller, Mr. Joshua Angbalaga, disclosed this while reviewing the activities of the command in Maiduguri. According to him, the amount represents over 60% of the targeted 137 million naira revenue for 2018. He also disclosed that the command seized 3 trucks loaded with 146 bags of smoked fish, valued at more than 3 million naira, adding that the fish were seized on the directive of the military. He revealed that the command conducts radio sensitization to create awareness on the e-unction program and check scam on fake recruitment by the command. He also disclosed that the command has initiated sound motivational programs to promote staff welfare, discipline, and dedication to duty. And that's Maritime News. Maritime Update continues shortly. Stay with us. If you've just joined us, this is Maritime Update reaching you courtesy of the Nigerian Shippers Council. For details, please reach the Nigerian Shippers Council on our email, website, or better still, text the number showing on your screen. Now to the guest of the week. She is Mfon Osoro. She is the former DG, Nimasa, and now the Secretary General, Abuja MOU on Port State Control. And our second guest is Mike Igbokwe, SAN. They both shared on the importance of Maritime Seminar for Judges, how it has fared in bridging the gap of human capacity development, and they also profiled short and long-term solutions in addressing issues in the maritime sector, which will aid the reposition of the sector if implemented. Stay with us. Ufon Sarah, great to have you talk to us on the program. The International Maritime Seminar for Judges was designed to address the intellectual needs of the maritime industry. Will you say this goal has been met so far?
I have to say it's done very, very well. It's a regular fiction and unarguably one of the best seminars that we have. We started first as just being Nigerian, now it is international. The purpose is really to bring the operators and the judiciary together. We know that in Nigeria we have the Federal High Court, which has the jurisdiction on admiralty matters. We also know that we do not have a specialized court in the Federal High Court that deals with admiralty issues, and that the judges generally do not have a background in shipping or maritime. So this Maritime Seminar for Judges, as the name says, organized together with the National Judicial Institute, is primarily to give that background, that intellectual knowledge that will equip the judges and the justices, because these matters get appealed to the Court of Appeal and the Supreme Court justices. In their adjudicating over these matters, it is useful for them to understand the issues under maritime laws and admiralty generally.
Looking at the vast maritime environment, what challenges have you identified that is hampering maritime development?
Well, it is a matter that agitates everybody, given the wealth that we have as a nation, with our bordering, the Atlantic Ocean, the Gulf of Guinea, etc. One would expect that not only name Nigeria will be a major maritime nation. So I suppose that's where the angle that you're coming from. A lot of things impede that. Part of it is that we are not up to date in our regulations, in our laws. 1. 2, there's a lot of uncertainty in Nigerian markets. If you were listening to the early session, one of the speakers talked about, I think it was a judge, who mentioned a case of that really demonstrates the uncertainty in the Nigerian maritime industry, where it was perfectly legal to import a consignment of cargo, and the the entrepreneur did about 12 ships. And then when it came into Nigeria, it was recently because there was change in government policy. So that uncertainty in commerce impacts every area of business. So that's one. Two is also what has come to be viewed as the government not taking the development of the maritime sector as a priority sector. That is what we are agitating for. Because if it is a priority sector, all agencies of government will tailor their policies towards encouraging investments in that area.
What are policies or strategic plans will you profile that will engender repositioning of the maritime sector?
Well, part of it would be to develop specific and well thought out fiscal incentives for the shipping sector, which other shipping nations do. Those will be on tax issues when you talk about fiscal incentives, and also some non-tariff measures, which incidentally the Nigerian Shippers Council and with the Ministry of Transportation now are championing. And I think they have made a representation to the highest level of government.
What do you think are the short and long-term measures to tackle the challenges experienced in the Nigerian ports?
Well, both are really interrelated, because if you don't get it in the short, medium term, then first we would like, when the responsible ministry is developing the national planning for Nigeria, they should have inputs from the transport sector. And I don't mean just a one paragraph where they recognize transportation as infrastructure. No, that again goes to show that it's not the priority sector. So let them have inputs from the private sector, the public sector of the maritime transportation. We would like that for a start. We would also like in executing their policies for them to follow what is done internationally in shipping that pushes the country to be in the forefront. And we have detailed that in several documents to the government. So in the long run, what we want to see is Nigerian registered vessels participating in international seagoing trade, not coastal, but seagoing trade to Asia, to the Americas, to the Mediterranean countries. We will then make sure that some of the money that is spent now on freight will be in Nigeria. It will develop our country. A huge number of vessels come into Nigeria, but they are not Nigerian flag vessels. So it's something we really must work towards, because that will bring down the cost of production generally in all the other sectors.
How then do we move away from import dependence to export to give the industry the necessary competitive advantage? In
recent years, there's been emphasis on creating secondary and tertiary values to what we used to call our cash crops. And a lot is being done towards that. There's intervention funds from the central bank, banks where they on-lend on single-digit interest rates to industries like agri, which is really, really very good, and the real sector. So as it relates to shipping, is that those exports should be carried, those goods should be carried on Nigerian-owned, Nigerian-flag vessels. So that because that will also reduce the cost of exportation. It will have a spiraling effect on the entire economy.
How can maritime education or training ensure capacity development through the empowerment of indigenous ship owners?
One cannot say it's enough. No, it's never enough. Even if we were a developed shipping nation, there are new issues coming up, new technology, new areas. So training has to be continuous. For now, this seminar by Nigerian Shippers Council has been permanent, and they're doing a lot. But there's agitation that it should be yearly. It used to be an annual seminar for judges prior, but for financial constraints, it became every 2 years. But people want it to be yearly, and I really support that. It should be a yearly seminar. So there's room for more. Every other group that have the capacity should also contribute to training. And NEMASA does that as well. And they're doing one in Calabar on Monday and Tuesday, yes. Okay.
Mike Igboke, great to have you talk to us on the program. Do you want to see synergy among other countries in the continent?
No, someone has to start it. When it first started, it was just known as Maritime Seminar for Judges. But the moment it started adopting an international perspective, the organizer felt that they should now invite also judges from different African countries and even bring speakers from outside Africa. Like today, yesterday we had some speakers from the IMO in London, okay? And that is international perspective. But when I was talking about international seminar, I meant seminars that are also organized by maritime institutions or even associations abroad, okay? Not necessarily Nigerian Shippers Council. Abroad, you have the International Bar Association, for instance, organizes its conferences, except of course it is hosted by Nigeria. It is held somewhere outside Nigeria. CMI, except of course it's hosted in Nigeria, will be abroad. So, but they discuss maritime issues, topical issues in the maritime industry. And some of these issues would end up coming before the justices. And it's important that before those issues come before them for determination, they appreciate them, they know about it. Like this Angel case, it's a very serious matter. But many of them are learning about it for the first time. And if not for this conference, they may not have become aware of it. That is one of the things that I said that this conference is achieving and why it must continue.
What do you think are the short and long-term measures to tackle the challenges experienced in the Nigerian ports?
God bless you. I'm happy you asked this question. You see, I must admit that some of the challenges we've been facing had to do with the speed with which maritime disputes are resolved. Our courts have gotten so congested now with cases, and the judges are overwhelmed by the quantum of admiralty cases coming before them, and also other cases, especially election petitions and all these other serious cases that sometimes they're not able to cope. Then the support staff that they need, the infrastructure, is not there. So you now find out that even though universally there is a principle that admiralty matters must be determined expeditiously, in Nigeria it is not so. And the drawback, the worst consequence is that foreigners that we should be attracting to Nigeria to invest and to do business with Nigerians do not have confidence in our judicial system because of the delays. Now, there's a principle that justice delayed is just denied. So you see them going to other courts of fora because they do not have confidence in their dispute being resolved in Nigeria within a short time. So some of them will even insert what we call foreign jurisdiction or foreign law court clauses to make sure that Nigerian courts do not have jurisdiction to determine those disputes when they arrive. But they have implications because if they insist that when a dispute arises, it is the court in England with the English court that will apply. What it means that if a Nigerian and the ship owner has any dispute, and the Nigerian is the one aggrieved or offended, he cannot properly institute an action in Nigeria. He will have to go to UK to do so. And he will need to fly there, fly his witnesses there. Not just that, also engage English lawyers. Quite expensive to do this. So sometimes when they look at the cost, they abandon the claims and they suffer. Some of them go bankrupt because they could not get justice or they could not actually get enough money to sponsor the action. They're not even sure at the end of the day they will win. So these are some of the disadvantages. What is more, because these cases are being tried abroad instead of being tried here, they deprive Nigerian judges of the experience they should have garnered on the job by listening to vibrant arguments from both sides and then learning from the addresses of counsel with a view to understanding the law better and also applying them. Our case law to our jurisprudence as far as that matter is concerned is also slowed down because these cases that should have been developing and become part of our law will be developed in the UK. So these are some of the challenges. But if only we can change that, like I suggested a few days ago, I said, well, we now need to put in place a situation whereby Federal High Court, Court of Appeal, Supreme Court would, by way of practice direction, insist or perhaps make provisions for admiralty matters to be expeditiously adjudicated upon, just like they have for terrorism and for some other crimes that they have. Then we will know that I have had, and I said it here, I have a couple of appeals on admiralty matters that have been pending in the Supreme Court for the past 6 or 5 years. They have not, all the briefs are in, but the appeal has not been. No, I don't blame the Supreme Court because that court is also overwhelmed. And I am an advocate for the fact that we should find a way of expanding. The population has been growing. Look at the law school, for instance. When I went to the law school, we were just about 200 students in the 80s. But now, over 1,000, about 2,000, produce 5 or 6 different geopolitical division areas in Nigeria, producing law students. At the end of the day, these are the ones that will be handling legal matters or going on the bench. The population is growing, so we need to expand and also increase the number of the justices of the Supreme Court, number of the justices of the Court of Appeal being appointed, even Federal High Court, so that they'll be able to cope. You know, that way the workload gets reduced, and if it's reduced, then the work will be done faster. And that confidence that is being lost by foreigners in our judicial system because of delay will be rebuilt.
Do you advocate for a separate court to handle maritime issues?
You see, that has been an argument that has been coming on for a very long time. The question is, if that will be solution to the delays, yes. But if you're not, no problem, as long as there is a solution. I'll give you an instance. Presently, there are what we call AMCON judges. You know, any case concerning AMCON will be assigned by the CJ of the Federal High Court to an AMCON judge to hear, and who appreciate the need for expedited hearing and determination of that. You know the reason? Because AMCON is an interventionist corporation that was brought in to save the financial and the banking industries from collapse. They buy over, toxic assets and debts, and then they now have to recover. And they own the CBN. They must recover this money. So if their cases face the usual delayed tactics in the judiciary, then what will happen is at the end of the day, they will not be able to fulfill their mandate. So in order to ensure that that doesn't happen, they now have AMCON judges. So we are also advocating, in order to also expedite admiralty matter, you can appoint admiralty judges if you want to, or make sure that the experienced ones that know about admiralty are the ones that give this into. Give them only admiralty matters to handle. If not, we'll be talking about creating admiralty court. But that's, again, a constitutional issue. You have to go to the National Assembly to get that done, like they did concerning the NIC, National Industrial Court. Okay, but we're saying that because that will take a long time and a long process, you can even designate some justices or judges of the Federal High Court as admiralty judges, so that all they will hear will be mainly admiralty matters.
What do you think the International Maritime Seminar for Judges portends for the future?
Progress, enlightenment, growth in intellectual capacity in the maritime industry, exchange of ideas, networking, and also contribution to modification or even enactment of new laws, relevant laws in the industry. For instance, we talked about the piracy and unlawful acts at sea law yesterday, which we don't have. We discussed about it to actually highlight the consequences of not having a standalone legislation in that respect. And the lawmakers and the industry is more aware, okay? Today again we discussed about the need to have a cross-border insolvency legislation because we don't have it, and we're beginning to have transnational corporate Nigerian companies in the sense that they have other sister companies or subsidiaries in African companies, for instance Dangote. So we do not wait until something happens before we begin to say, there's a lacuna in our law, there's nothing we can do to protect our citizens. So I have highlighted that, and I talked about the UNCITRAL model law, which has been adopted by some European countries, and which is a solution to these cross-border insolvency issues that we can look at and see how we can adopt, so that it can help our citizens when they find themselves in cross-border insolvency. But if we don't have such a thing in place, there's nothing they can do.
Welcome back. That was Mfang Osoro, former DG Nimasa and the Secretary General Abuja MOU on Port State Control, and Mike Igbokwe, SAN, sharing their thoughts in that interview. And that's where we draw the curtain on this week's edition of Maritime Update. Many thanks for being a part of today's edition. Please send your comments and observation on the number showing on your screen. This show promises to bring you yet another exciting package next week. For more details, you can contact the Nigerian Shippers Council on our email, website, or text the number on your screen. You can also view this episode or any of our previous episodes on our YouTube channel, Maritime Update. When you visit, please subscribe and also click the notification button. I am Norma Obiaswalo. Until I come your way again same time next week, it's goodbye.